Game number 6 is ready. We don't have to wait long to find out the conclusion of who's going to take home that first place prize.
A big moment is on the horizon. Who will be victorious in this game? The final bus drop of the day, of the weekend. Pink and Nebinator, a duo who I'm a big personal fan of, and I've finally had the chance to show what they can do, and it's been rather impressive. A bit higher in the leaderboards earlier in some of the games, but here in game number 6, a chance to start to get back up into that top 5 area.
But one of the most exciting ones that we do like to see, Maiza and Voltiax 2v2 against Hardfind and Mighty Pelican, and oh my gosh, he makes that an easy find. Shockwave hammer right out of the gates, tactical pistol, machine SMG, and he's on the hunt, he's on the chase. Half HP, disappears right before our very eyes on Maiza. Splashes coming out. Levin, I'm scared. I'm shaking for him right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be scared as well. Now that they realize what they're up against. Creating so much space with that hammer, just completely destroying their cover and making it look easy. Hardfind and Mighty Pelican will win this fight, and they win on the day here at this POI. Things are looking good.
With the amount that's on the line right now, you can see Kaide and Vico out for revenge. Taking out both Helix and Tilturn. Back to the lobby they go. Their run in week number 2 of the FNCS qualifiers comes to an end. Hopefully they've garnered enough points to gather as many series points as possible, because they could be one of those teams that are looming on the bubble, trying to fight for their way directly to the finals. Just like Albi and Ludwig. One of those teams, man, they're so high up on the leaderboard, they can only go down at this point.
And I think when it comes to this team and what they've been able to accomplish today, they have definitely put the rest of the region on notice. It's one of the better teams so far this season. A big performance like this starts to improve your prospects in all aspects compared to Fortnite. Over here at Anvil Square though, Mr. Savage and I drop. Need to try win this fight once again.
They've done a good job of slowing down JD2 and Glubshi throughout their performance. Last week, throughout the 2 days of qualifiers to get to this point, this is looking like one of the favorite teams really to perform at a high level. As iDrop trying to take advantage, the additional angle is going to be there. The information being shared over by Mr. Savage. He's finally going to be able to get out of escape as iDrop's going to slow it down. Regroup here with Savage, figuring out how they're going to attack this situation yet again. JJ2 trying to fight back. Piece Control going through a huge tag to back down Mr. Savage. Stabilizing themselves in this situation, biding some time. As you see iDrop just trying to go for that other angle. But this is the one thing that only makes me worry about iDrop and Mr. Savage, the way they're fighting this right now. They're fighting it as 2 different solos from 2 different directions. JJ2 and Glubshi at a moment's notice could turn, try to W key into one of these players' boxes and try to take the numbers game while they can. But I think Mr. Savage and iDrop, they kind of realize the situation. They're slowing down their aggression, trying to regroup. Like we talked about, Falcon Scout trying to reveal the position of where these players are exactly at. Huge amount of information, which will allow them, honestly, to kind of rethink the whole strategy of how they're fighting this.
And look, big props to Mr. Savage and iDrop today. Done a brilliant job against Glubshi and JJ2, of course. Glubshi and JJ2, they came 4th last week, right? So they are no easy opponents by any means, but Savage and iDrop have just been so relentless, so comfortable here in this fight at Anvil Square, and hopefully I don't jinx it here. We're in this fight. Savage needs to farm up a bit. Of course, a big day for him, announcing his new home, new organization. I'm sure we'll see that in his name next weekend, assuming they make it here again.
Perfect usage and perfect timing. Mr. Savage pulling off the Falcon Scout. As soon as they were going to try to push iDrop, he immediately was able to spot him out, but didn't get it that second time around. The trade's going to come through. Down goes iDrop, down goes JJ2. Glubshi versus Mr. Savage, where Glubshi is getting to get the leading end, but a huge shot from Mr. Savage himself. Back to back.
Wow.
That's why they signed him. You called him out. They said, we need that type of talent a part of our team.
Mr. Savage is special. A phenomenal player, and it's a reason why thousands and thousands flock to watch him whenever he plays and streams, because that level of talent is constantly on display. 200 IQ, Mr. 200 IQ himself.
It's scary how long he's been this good.
Since the beginning. Back when I was a comp player. So you know it's ancient times.
Long ago. Back when you were my height even.
Maybe not that far back.
Was that 3rd grade? 2nd grade?
About 9 years old, probably, yeah.
I'll get there. I got a 5-year plan. Maris and Fred next, they got a plan of their own. And that plan is just loot up, gather as many of the resources as possible. They know that team below them is not going anywhere, and if they do, they're going to get the information sooner rather than later. There's Vino and Queasy. Business as usual, loot up, uncontested, far out in the lands. And they get zoned. So you know what Vino says, this could be a repeat.
Hey, when they get north zones, they usually do seem to win, it feels like. Ooh. And they don't get north zones often. Diox in white out there in this final game. Again, it is that final game, right? So when you see a team or a player go down, that is it, right? They gotta, you know, go have their Sunday roast, their Sunday dinner, and forget about it, because it is over.
Just stings that much more. Because in the other games, just like you're saying, you're like, okay, we can go again. All right, these are the adjustments you're gonna make. This time around, you gotta wait a whole week to even have that plan be possible, and you gotta qualify to get there. Bassetti and Cammy doing what they do best. Passive, looking for that early game surge, setting themselves up for a nice spot before they build their tower high in the sky. Luckily for them, they don't got too much rotating to go, unlike some of these other teams. Talk about not rotating, talk about towers high in the sky. Queasy and Vino are building a skyscraper unlike ever before seen in the game so far. Spotting Grolls out into the distance. And I don't like the look of this for Grolls as he gets spotted out. Vino is going to go ahead and use that shockwave hammer, try to close the distance. You see Grolls about facing. He's trying to run, reunite with Fire Hunter over towards Brutal Bastion. And I think that's going to be a success for them. They just escaped treacherous waters.
Treacherous indeed. You saw the intention from Vino there. Whipped out that hammer. Very, very scary sight. The Grolls. The Watson robot. They're in the midst of a fight here. One of the teams that's sort of been middling in the standings. A big last game here would do wonders for them. What can the robot do? Trying to take control of the pieces here. Wasn't quite able to get the walls he wanted to at the right times. But if he can, Asa is going to be in for a world of trouble as Robot and Watt, they hit big. Top aimers. But need some match right now. They aren't working with much.
I like how aware Robot was seeing that third party come in. He could have easily stayed being aggressive there in that situation.
I just called him top aimers and he's whiffed every shot. Come on, bro. You're not making me look good here, Robot. Come on.
He needs to update the firmware. He doesn't have the latest update. He's still on 2.0. He needs to go to 2.1.
Fair play, fair play, fair play. Look, there's been a lot going on so far this game, and in game number 6, to fill us in for the last time, we got Vivid here on the sidelines. Vivid, hit us with it.
Game 6, the name of this game will be the chase between 3rd and 2nd place. See if they can catch up with 1st place, Albi and Ludwig. Of course, we have Podesai going to be in 2nd place, and then also to tune in with Vino, kind of update you guys on the loot, how both of these teams are doing. Last game, will they be able to catch it? They're both around 30 points behind. We'll have to see what they can do.
That battle between those two teams is one that we will pay very close attention to throughout this game. Of course, all these players playing desperately to try and get as much series points as possible. So we want to get the one up on a team.
And continues to pull north. Queasy and Vino's dream is Giddis and Chardy are trying to back up. They realize they got one down, so all the timing is theirs for the taking. Just trying to play for the visual audio that most players play with right now. Hear it going off, trying to break into the box. Piece control going on over. That's going to be an easy cleanup for them. Down goes at least one, but a huge shot's going to be traded off. Chari takes a massive amount of damage, but they're able to clean up the elimination nonetheless. And they do so before the shots come firing in. That timing was impeccable.
Max damage from Chari. What a shot. For Nebunator and Pink, a fight way deep into the storm and nowhere near the safe zone. Remember, zone is all the way at the very, very north of the map, the most northern point you can be. And they are all the way here, still in the southeast, along this shore. And that's some of the difficulties of landing in the extremities. When it pulls to the opposite extremity, you find yourself down in the dirt in fights like that. But they are very, very familiar to it. Pink has been doing that in many, many chapters, in many, many spots. Thinking back to all the days of the Joneses, very similar situations he faced there. I'm sure he'll have a plan in the works for Hellfire and Ref's Guard. They are making their way to the zone, and not as far of a distance to go as some of the things we saw a couple moments ago. And way above on Surge as well, Jacob.
Yep, so for them, they have the luxury of kind of being able to focus solely on that rotation. You guys saw where the zone was. They're not too far off, and they're getting there rather quickly. And that's the comfortability I'm talking about of Surge, that when you're dough on Surge, you have to stay in the zone just like this. You have to fight for it every single inch of 447 above. Right now, they're just fighting for their lives, fighting for their game number 6. Astral, Duck on the other side. 86 above for them. If they can go ahead and come out on top in this one, that Storm Surge is going to be plentiful for their success in their road into the rest of this game. But Clement and Deceptos, it doesn't look like they're taking too many big chances, but as I say that, they trade shot for shot. Decepto's going to go down. Clement trying to think outside of the box, Shockwave hammering up, but it's also the reason why he takes a lot of damage to Astra. They trade shots back and forth, but I think Astra's going to be the one coming out on top. He has all the heals on his side. He can stay in the box. He can take all the time in the world. With the piece control going on over, he's trying to act very defensively, quickly getting in and out of the box. Clement, his choices are being dwindled. His options are being tossed out the window. Tries to go right back in with the Shockwave hammer, but gets denied again. But he trades a shot as Astro continuously backing down with every step.
Clement doesn't have time on his sides, but he does have intent and aggression. And sometimes that's all you need. Unfortunately for him, though, it looks like time is going to run out for him. They are now on the hunt, and they will clean him up. Unfortunate there for the Frenchie. Going to have to hit the drawing board. But a nice attempt nonetheless. Ludwig and Albi looking to continue their reign in first place and stop anybody from closing that distance.
In a situation you don't see him in very often either. Right before it went away, they were down on Storm Surge, so even though they don't have to worry about it, it's still looming in the back of their minds about something they still have to deal with, something they still have to worry about. Just not in this exact moment. And they're pausing, trying to gather that information. They know that team is directly below them, but they also took some shots from the third parties. And this continues to pull towards the north side of the map. And without a Shockwave hammer, it's going to be hard for some of these teams to get up the different elevated mountains around all these enemies. And so for Albi and Ludwig, holding on to first place, they got their work cut out for them.
And are we going to see that top aim I was talking about? Yes, we will. Watson Robot pick up Thomas HD. And so that does not bode well for Malabuka in this one. You can see now how difficult of a task he has, because even in the storm still, players taking shots at him.
He just has scraps too when it comes to resources and mats. Not much to work with. Probably using it, just try to stay alive, get to this position, losing Thomas along the way, and that's why you see him not really building, not really trying to give away his position, recycle as much as possible. As everybody else just trying to get them spot in his own. And honestly, this is a huge week. Even though they're not in first place, Peak and Nebs, they failed to qualify last week. And in terms of series points, in terms of that auto qualification directly into the grand finals and not having to play through Surge Week, this was crucial for them. And so I got to give them hats off, realizing the situation that they're in and performing to a high standard. With 1 week left, hopefully they can kind of mimic that as Robot and Walks trying to finish what they started. They got that first elimination, separated another player. This is absolutely crucial, and they're going to clean that one up with ease. And that's going to grant them a Shockwave hammer. Every single time they get these eliminations, it adds to their total.
Really nice stuff here for the Swedes. We'll be hoping that this run of luck can continue. Manabuka tried his best. But again, not going to be enough to avenge Thomas there. Ludwig and Albi. Right into another fight. They're almost connecting with a big shot there. Cosmo just doing his best to scurry away before returning fire himself. That's going to slow Ludwig down just that bit.
That was a huge find by Albi. Ludwig being the distraction. Not only are they above Surge, he's able to back up. They get the shockwave hammer. As long as they're able to heal up, they'll be in good shape. 132 above the damage threshold. Not too far to go before they're in zone. Expending the builds. That's a sacrifice that they're willing to make at this stage in the game. Just take note of their points. If they do go down, that's going to be the threshold that we're looking for.
Yeah, we saw Vino go down in the feed, so that is not a good thing at all, not a good sign. He's actually down and out completely. Pink and Nebs are nearby, and so if they hear Queasy struggles, they might look to get involved in this themselves. But Queasy now has a big job on his hands, and of course, in terms of series points, they are going to be looking very good after this performance, regardless of where they finish now. But you still want to go out with a bang. And like, you can't rule that out for Queasy. More hammers than he could ever do anything with, and if Pink and Nebs go in there, they might be greeted with a cheeky little gift. Seti in a very similar situation. A lot of the times today, we've seen Cammy having to clutch up solo. This time around, it's going to be his teammate Seti with that burden.
With these north zone pools, they're not really able to set up the way they want to with the tower in the sky to fight for the surge, and all these teams rotating into their position because they too have to focus on their own rotation to make it this far. As Artie looking like he's getting ready to shockwave at the perfect time. Knows that he's there, possibly by himself. If I were him, you got the empty slot, pick up the Falcon Scout, scan real quick, see everybody that's in close proximity, but doesn't have the time anymore. Zone continuously pushing in, forcing them to move forward in their journey. As Seti's just trying to take some shots. He needs that surge as a solo.
Yeah, I think one of Pink and Nebs just got sort of knocked away. Queasy, not even going to shockwave hammer in, wants to stay inconspicuous. Just going to run in, use these old builds for protection. Stay away here in the backside, try to go unnoticed. Of course, the more attention he brings to himself, the worse. And so he'll be patient, not in a rush. 40 spotted an opportunity there. Nevertheless, just clearing out a pathway for him to get into zone. Another hammer will take him just beneath that height team. He might actually try to sneak up on him and take it for himself as a solo. What is Queasy doing? Very ambitious there from Queasy. I don't think that's the play I would have made, but nevertheless, I'm not going to question him. Either way, though, that is the end of their run in today's games.
Like a magnet to height, it almost feels like. Always find themselves at the highest elevation, but at the same time, really thinking outside of the box, trying to take advantage of a team that may not have expected him coming, but expected or not, they definitely showed up and answered the call. Kyrie and Ping's putting some shots in the distance. Seti's going to go down as well. Slove and Artie, 11 below, continuously falling even further. Now they're 28, trying to put the shots, but they can't put too much pressure because they both have red eyes. But landed just enough, 2 above the damage threshold. Seeing the loot right below, have to make that conscientious decision. Is it worth it? Is it not? Is it a risk we're willing to take? And with a few teams being there around them, they didn't take the risk, and they get the reward regardless. Flodax is the one who gets caught being a little greedy, and they strike from above.
And they might be able to pick up that loot as well. They are still wary of what lies beneath. But once they think it's time to take the gamble, they will walk on in and they will pick up another. Wow. Brilliantly done there from Artie and Slove. And this is the makings of a very, very good game. Of course, the zone starting to move will mean that they have to pick up the pace a bit. Can't dwell on those limbs. Just have to make a move on.
Yep, Bahawa and Joker just trying to shockwave to the front side of zone. They got themselves there just in the nick of time, down on Surge. That's not a situation we want to be in. And they see Slove close by. Not going on the offensive, though. Right now, they're going to try to out-heal it to begin with, waiting for some other teams trying to get in zone as well. That's where we're going to peek through and look back, but they're getting pressured, stuck to on the defensive end, holding the covers, and this is where they're trying to expand out. The information that they're gathering right now is very, very crucial. 64 below. You got to imagine how many other teams are just not peeking because they're above.
Charwa and Joker going to be searching all around. And opportunities are definitely there. Not bad, but wishing maybe it could have been more. That's Vico that will be picked up. And so Kylie now stuck in the mud there in zone. Gonna medkit and hope that that can do him a wonder and keep him in the zone for just that bit longer. But for Chawa and Joker, they'll be happy out of that. Just getting above now. And maybe realizing that there's more there for a moment. Bad Snap and Floki currently based up above all those cones. The metal ones reinforced. Very strong in that position. But we've seen players look strong here at the beginning of the 6th zone and not really do anything with it. So the game's not done. They still need to perform. They still need to deliver.
The last time we seen a situation like this with Queasy and Bino down, nobody really knew when and where to take height. They probably just assumed they were up there. And for Bad Sniper, they are already up there. They know they have the highest viewpoint of the land. There's X-Squeeze and POTUS, 252 above, only peeking when have to. And there goes the information. X-Squeeze letting them know this is where you're going to shockwave me. Straight to the front side of zone, trying to get there as quick as possible. Albi and Ludwig along the way as well. Artie and Slove, they found some eliminations to get to this point. Built themselves a cushion when it comes to Storm Surge. Trying to catch somebody slipping backside of zone. Putting the shots on, pressuring a team just enough, just to make them feel like there's somebody watching them every step of the way before they shockwave themselves, stealing away the front side.
Yeah, you can see a cut-off here happening. Nebinator, he tried his best, couldn't really connect with the shot. And so, back to square one. The focus being to move on throughout the zone. Nobody really contesting height whatsoever. This might be free for Bad Sniper and Floki.
Yeah, I'm coming into this one. Groles and Fire Hunter towards the top. They're on that bubble of that top 40, almost forced to go through Surge because Albi and Ludwig on the other side of that one. Another top finish here. They can bypass that whole week, go directly into the grand finals. And once again, Albi with the solid gold, ready to terrorize some teams with the Excalibur as well. They're getting to that front side of zone. POTUS and X-Squeeze pressuring from different angles, trying to edit themselves in and out before peeking straight through, trying to get to the front side, but they get separated. POTUS ends up with a speed bump, but he finds his way nonetheless. X-Squeeze goes down though, so that leaves himself as a solo, wondering, how am I going to make this work?
I don't even know how POTUS survived there. Got pieced up, but the hammer got him out of dodge. Now though, without a teammate, without hope, he needs to connect with a big shot. This is his chance, this is his moment. But will he be able to connect? For Ping and Kyrie, they move forward in the zone. And there is a team on this layer that they need to be careful about. That's going to be Albi and Ludwig that dropped down one beneath them. But they still need to be careful because they will try and chop them out. And that's exactly what's looking to happen here. Kyrie almost getting split up. And so he needs to stay by his duo's side. And the hammer play to knock them down. These guys are so aggressive. They don't care who you are. They just want to take you out.
Makes a little bit of a mistake there, trying to get the edit. That would have been a huge shot and fire off. Floki and Bad Sniper, they held high ground for the past 2 zones so far, looking to make it a third. Pressure is there from the Red Eye, but his ammo is looking a little light. Sooner or later, that pressure is going to stop. Mr. Savage and Eye Drop trying to recycle. They have no builds towards the low ground, trying to make it work. But sooner or later, they're going to run into a team, and there it goes. Mr. Savage trying to make it work. That's Kyrie. He's left there, trying to make it work. Vaniac on the other side as well. So many other teams stuck in this chaos and destruction, but somehow, some way, Mr. Savage and Eye Drop keep their eye on the prize, find a sliver of low ground to work with.
The Norwegians are on the move. They're on the hunt. They're on the pounce. Don't want to mess with them. They'll come rolling through and take you out. Looking to claim low now, but there'll be a couple other teams that have their eyes on that as well. You've got to think eventually Pink and Nevs will do the same, but they have to start connecting with something. Want to know a match, a refresh will be needed, but knocked right into the zone. I don't think that's what Pink would have intended. Just down to 10 HP now. And a couple of shields remaining. The mini will get him up just that bit more. But without Nebs, without much HP, all builds, this is a tough task to ask of Pink.
He has the shockwave hammer. Not wasting any time. Into the zone, though. Down goes Pink. Hopefully his points were enough to boost him up the series point leaderboard. Mr. Savage, men miss, outside of the zone, trying to find his way in. And it's going to go down the hill. This is the best possible scenario for Mr. Savage. He finds a crevice, something to work with. He gives himself hope.
A lifeline in this game. That's exactly what Mr. Savage needs. When you give him an inch, he'll take an absolute mile. And he sees Robot there. Can he connect, though? Putting a stair in between him, added protection, then looking to take the walls, looking to claim some space, and there's some loot above him. That might be the free drop he needed, but the team above is going to be raining havoc, and that's not going to be what Mr. Savage needs, but he can keep hitting shots and keep making plays, and maybe, just maybe, he can take out Floki in a 1v1 now. I don't know how we've ended up here, but nevertheless, Mr. Savage has a chance. Can Floki stop him, though?
Pokey's just trying to play defensive right now, not making any big moves. Peeks down, shockwaves again, but he lands the shot that matters. Floki with 14 eliminations for him and his duo take the 6th and final game.
Floki and Bad Sniper held height from the beginning of the end game all the way to the end. Brilliantly held, brilliantly done, and they close out the day strong. The Frenchies putting on a show.
Putting on a show indeed. 4 straight zones, Bad Sniper and Floki. They built themselves up with a ton of resources, a ton of opportunity for the end game, taking down Grolls, finding even more loot to work with. Eventually, push came to shove. They take down first place as well. This is literally a legendary duo rising to the occasion and taking over no matter what superstars are in their lobby.
And look, speaking of superstars, Mr. Savage, very much impressing us, very much showing us, especially in this last game, just why he is respected. He couldn't do it in the final 1v1 against Floki, but nevertheless, very, very impressive stuff. Bad Sniper and Floki, they take game 6 of week number 2, and what a week it has been, Jacob. The EU players, you wanted them to step up, and they certainly did. These have been some of the best games we've had all major long.
Yo, I agree with that. Got me smiling ear to ear, figuring out what's going to happen, though, next? The leaderboards, they're in shambles. The series point leaderboards, who knows where we ended up after this one? Luckily, we have 3 of the best analysts in all of Fortnite to break it down and guide us to where we need to go.
Thank you so much, Jacob. PR11 2K, an amazing set of 6 games. My goodness. I just can't even believe how chaotic EU was coming into week number 2. We had highs, we had lows, we had surprises. I mean, what a day.
No surprise, though, that we see Albi and Ludwig managing to stay consistent throughout. We saw them basically just playing for placement. I think that they were very tactical in terms of how they actually chose to move throughout that first moving zone. It was an especially difficult position, I think, for them to try and play from that mid-ground territory, because while they might have had 55 mats, at the same time, you can expend those so rapidly because of the Shockwave Hammer. And I just gotta say it, though, a quick shout out to Mr. Savage, not just for that 0-0 Nation signing, but also because of the initial start off in general to this game. He had a phenomenal performance, clutching out a 1v2 scenario when JJ2 and Glubshy actually chose to switch their drop spot over to Anvil Square. And I think because of that instance, Mr. Savage with that 2nd place finish, Jenny.
Yeah, Mr. Savage there was able to pick up iDrop, and if he wasn't, then he would have had to run that as a solo. So the fact that he was able to get him up definitely made them in such a great position to win, and they got really, really close, but in 2nd is still so good, and they were able to still get so many eliminations, so it ended up very good for them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, going up 9 places to hit top 8, that's pretty dang good, but look at the top 6. None of them moved. Everyone's like, okay, hey, is everybody happy? Let's just play this last game out. Everybody do what you're doing.
Sure.
We'll all go home. We'll come back next week. We'll fight for the crown then. My goodness, just to see the level of skill, because, you know, usually you'll watch standings shift at least once, maybe twice, you know, but to have that top 6 cemented that way, that shows skill.
Largely due to the fact that I think that the in-game points as well were just so heavily stacked towards that top 3 position, and Podesai and Essuiz especially managing to maintain their 2nd place position throughout. We saw numerous instances of these two hanging out from that south side of the Brutal Bastion area, and despite the fact that these were a lot of north pulling zones, I think that we still saw some wonderful instances of Podesai and Squeeze. They weren't trying to be overly greedy with anything. They saw their advantages, they made sure to take them, and they never really looked for an overextension.
Oh yeah, they had their idea of where they were going to rotate, and again, like, that positioning is so important, and they didn't run into anybody trying to get that extra damage on Storm Surge, which put them in a good placement for Storm in that area. Again, it could have probably been a little bit more ideal in their drop spot, but again, they did have some good positionings, and they made it work perfectly.
Yeah, another duo I do want to highlight here, Seti and Cammy, a duo we would not expect to continue to drop down. Now, of course, they did make top 10. That's still quite an accomplishment. But if they don't pick it up in week number 3, we could be looking at seeing them go into Surge Week, where they need a Victory Royale or have to place top 5. That window is so much smaller in Surge Week.
It's definitely a slim margin, but at the same time, if I would expect anybody to do it, it's Seti and Cammy. They are a history team for a reason. And keep in mind also your FNCS Invitational winners, which is always going to be pertinent to the conversation, because just when you think that they might be out of it, these guys have a tendency to look for that pop-off factor.
Yeah, I always like to say, you just never count them out. Do not count Cammy and Seti out, because they show up when it's needed. So I am just so certain that whenever they have to show up, they're going to make sure that they keep playing this through, because we're going to want to see them in land, and I know that they want to be there too.
That's right. Hey, guess what, Fortnite fam? Got a little special interview for you. It's none other than the man himself, Queasy, who's coming on through. Queasy, what's going on, dude? It's great to see you. How you doing?
What's good? What's good? A bit depressed, but it's okay.
Bro, there's nothing to be depressed about. You placed third. Okay, listen. If we have to talk about it, I want to ask. So what happened, right? We had these like amazing games from you and Vino, but there was like those 2 games where one of you was like down, right? So like what happened in those 2 games?
I'm not really sure. Like we got a really good luck today with zones and with hammers from our drop spot, which we don't usually get.
Okay.
So I think we definitely could have played better, but I don't think we played that bad, considering like everything. I feel like the lag might have like maybe messed us up a little bit today, but other than that, I think we did good.
I can only say Queasy would be one to be disappointed by a 3rd place finish. That's a little bit of that champion's mental shining through, but you guys are definitely in a fantastic spot for looking to find yourselves in the grand finals, as is just from your performances these past 2 weeks. So what's the mental for heading into week 3 knowing that?
I mean, I think we're just gonna relax, probably stream it both, and yeah, take that chill week off and then prepare for grands.
All right, Queasy, I gotta ask. So we've been seeing this change, a shift from holding like the SMG to everybody holding a pistol. What's going on there? Give me a little insight.
I'm pretty sure it's just because the perk can be unlocked at any time of the game, so people can carry red dots, get their surge up, and then unlock the pistol and just play the pistol.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. Okay, so if you're gonna take a little bit of a chill week, is there something you guys want to like improve or work on going into week 3?
I think we're just gonna keep everything hidden for now for grand finals. We have
Okay.
some strats coming, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like it, a little secretive.
I mean, that's Queasy and Vito, though. They always
like
have
it.
something, and those clutch moments when you need to clutch up, you guys are always there. So first off, we just want to thank you so much, Queasy. For people out there who maybe don't know you, and I don't know why they wouldn't, but for those that don't, where can they look to find you?
QueasyFN on Twitter.
There you go. Clean. You like to keep it Queasy and simple. Okay, I'm so sorry. Anyway, anyway, Queasy, I'll catch you later, man. Thank you
See
so
you,
much
Queasy.
for your time. We
thank
really
you.
do appreciate it. Well, hey, that is pretty much it here in EU, and I hate that we have to say goodbye because it means we won't get to hang out for another week, but it's okay. Before we go, why don't we talk about that broadcast schedule? If you've enjoyed this, don't forget, there's also NA East. We're back next weekend. NA East will be first, then we'll be right back here for EU to bring you all of the action. And do keep in mind, that is week number 3. That's the week before Surge Week. That's when all of these duos have to put everything online. Because I'm telling you right now, you don't want to go to Surge Week. You want to try and lock in that grand final spot.
Yeah, 100%, right? You want to just sort of get in, out. You don't want to have to deal with all of that. We know how it can be in some of those rounds. Personally, I'm very excited for it. Good to see Queasy, right? Shout out to my guy Queasy. I know he's been hitting the gym. He's looking good, you know what I mean? Looking fresh, my guy. What I will say, right, is that these games, if they are anything like this next week, when it is a bit more intense, right, because you have the players who have to do a last-minute, wonder class, it's going to get real fun for us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Last week, there was something left to be missed. And after this week, oh man, was I entertained. The shockwave hammers, the big plays. And the most exciting thing about this region versus NA East is it feels like anybody can come out on top.
That is so true. Like, again, we saw that with the winning team today. It's crazy because they didn't qualify for the first week. And we come there, we see them, and we're like, hello, who are you? It's my time to make a name for myself. So I love to see that in EU because there's so many talented players.
You always have to appreciate the new names but familiar faces, but new duo synergy as well there for our first place finishes today. But man of mystery there, Queasy, with the whole elusiveness in terms of, hey, yeah, we got some strats. They're a little bit hidden. We'll pull them out when the time is right, and I'm sure they're not the only duos looking to do that.
That's right. Well, Fortnite fan, we appreciate you guys so much for watching all of the action with us. Remember, next week, we're back. Same time, same great place. Have an amazing week. Keep yourself safe. And as always, we'll see you on that battle bus.
Beep, 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 beep.